thank you everyone for coming this evening, and I want to thank the Park District and all of the good folks of South Shore. My name is Al Debonet. I'm the, thank you, Louise. I'm not worthy. I'm the chairman of the Jackson Park Golf and Community Leadership Advisory Council. I'm not a Park District employee or employee of the Fifth Ward, but we have a wonderful alderman who listens to the community, and they all, about a year ago to this day almost, said we would want to be heard, and this process is going forward. So we want our voices to be heard and participate. And with that said, because I'm in the park almost every day as a golfer, runner, tennis player, mentor, as well as just participating in the community at all times, she said, Al, would you lead? And I can never say no to the alderman. So that's an easy one, right? But more than anything, over the last year, almost every stakeholding organization, group, community group, Chamber of Commerce, PAC has participated in this process of giving input on what will be the design of our restored community golf course. And we had a wonderful, wonderful support from CEO, Superintendent Mike Kelly, who said, "I'll make it so." He got behind the group, led a tour. All that you can ask for was done. So I would like to, right now, if possible, all those who have participated over the year and are part of our advisory committee, please stand up, please, everyone. Keep standing, because every one of the PAC members and community members outside of it, please stand up for all those who participated over the year. All of those, again, Chamber of Commerce, all from all over, that is tremendous community participation. But I want the media to know it's hundreds, if not thousands. There's over 10,000 plus represented in the participation of this process. Now, there will be some that say we weren't heard, but I'm going to tell you this. Every one of the things you see, all the commitments, all the different changes to the boards, there was community input. So I want everyone to give yourselves a hand. Come on, everybody, please, come on. Come on, give yourselves a hand. And with that said, I would like to bring to the stage my alderman, our alderman, who listens well and participates in bringing everything to the ward, to the community. Alderman Leslie Harrison, please. Thank you. Give her a hand.
Good evening, everybody. Now, I want to welcome you all tonight, and it's my job to welcome you, but I also want to add to what Al said. No matter what side of the aisle that you're on or what issue that you're passionate about, you are passionate about it, and that's what public engagement is about, that's what civic engagement is about, and that's really about what we're about here in the Fifth Ward. And so I see the sign over there, and I love it. This is democracy, right? And this is what it should be, not what we're seeing in other parts of the United States. So I am glad that we can have this lively debate. I'm glad that people can feel free to express their opinions, be it good or bad. That's what the process is about, and we work through it. So I really thank you all for giving of your time, from taking away from your families, for coming out for evening meetings, afternoon meetings, and really taking this seriously. So I am really grateful for all that you all have done, and I thank you, and let's get it going. Mike Kelly, come on.
So I think passion hit it on the head. For those of you, who don't know me, Mike Kelly, I'm the superintendent of the Park District. I'm coming on my 15th year at the Park District, 25th in government. So a couple of just prepared remarks I want to make, and then we're going to turn it over to the star of the show tonight, Bo Welling. So a little bit of history. About a year ago, JPAC invited me out to the field house, my team and I, to talk about the golf course and talk about the announcement I had made. And it was a packed house for those of you who were there, and about 3 weeks later, Alderman Harrison made a similar request over at the South Shore Fine Arts School, and we had a packed house again. And what we heard was the community clamored for a lot of change. The community clamored for a lot of input, and the community said to me, hey, you might want to slow down a bit. And you know what? I'm proud to say we're better off for it. We got a better plan. We've had a lot more community feedback on it. And let me explain to you what tonight is. So tonight is the latest meeting on the South Lakefront Framework Plan. And tonight is the discussion of the scenario on golf. For those of you who are unfamiliar with the South Lakefront Framework Plan, we are setting a course for the evolution of Jackson Park and South Shore. We have a nod towards flexibility so these parks can evolve to the future, and we are embracing what Jackson Park is going to be, which is going to be a neighborhood destination, a regional destination, and with the OPC, it's going to be an international destination. This framework plan is also going to outline how we're going to manage our operations and the land. Now, for most of you that have been involved since last January, we've had 10 public meetings in association with the South Lakefront meeting. 1,800 attendees, 1,100 of which were unique, and that's not counting the folks in the room today. That's not counting the dozens of stakeholder meetings we've had with a lot of you in smaller settings. And I'm proud to say your feedback, both in person and the feedback we received online, is developing the vision and the guiding principles for the project. Now tonight, again, afterwards, if you want to talk to me, my team, anybody about anything with the framework plan, go for it. But tonight is about golf. This is about the shape of the future of Jackson and South Shore parks. It's a complete redesign. Make no bones about it. It's a complete redesign of Jackson Park and South Shore, and the updates to these courses are long overdue. Now, I've read everybody's worried about we're going to make the course too hard, we're going to make the course too long. But for all the golfers in the room, we've played these courses to US Open length roughs. These fairways are narrower than the fairways at Oakmont, considered one of the hardest courses in America, and these greens are smaller than the postage stamp greens at Pebble Beach. So the argument that we're going to make these courses harder is simply not true. It's not fun for anybody. I'm passionate. I'm passionate about this project. I'm passionate about our parks. I'm passionate about golf, but I'm mostly passionate about our kids. And I cannot stress enough that this really, for me, is as much about the kids as anything. When I took over in 2011, thank you. When I took over in 2011, one of the first things I did is I made golf free for any kids 17 and under in our park system. Thank you. And it's really, it's simple. I grew up on the south side. I played at Marquette, and I had 3 or 4 clubs, and I had maybe a pocket full of golf balls. But if I can't afford to play, well, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You've got to remove those obstacles. This course is going to do that. We're staying committed to it. Anybody who knows our business, we're the best deal in town. Anybody who knows our business, we serve hundreds of thousands of kids, and we're growing. I see this as a national model. Follow the comments from Tiger Woods, and Tiger Woods President Brian Bell is in the back. That's the commitment. This is not more than an idea. This is a model for the country, a model for our youth. It's going to create jobs, and again, you're going to. Part of what I want to qualify with is we're the largest employer of youth in the state of Illinois. So when I say it's going to create jobs for youth, it's going to create jobs for youth, and it's going to create opportunities for children. I'm almost done. Folks have said to me, you're going to price this out. It's not going to happen. That'd be the craziest thing we would ever do is price people out. We're not going to turn our backs on all the loyal golfers. Where's all the golfers? Where's all the guys who play the course? The men and women that play this course. I said it back last January. I'll say it again. The market rate is well below $50. We're going to keep this under $50. That's my commitment for Chicagoans. For Chicagoans. A couple more points that I've heard over the past 12 months that I just want to address. The natural areas. Folks have talked a lot about the natural areas, and I love it. We're not just about golf at the Park District. We have a whole naturalist team. Back in 2001, When we were starting natural areas, there was some pushback. People were saying, hey, you're not mowing the grass. Hey, you're planting weeds. And the first person to test that is Alderman Hairston. But in deference to Alderman Hairston, she was also the one who led the charge to clean up the South Shore area back in 2001, because it really wasn't that great. And we partnered with her with it. Now think about this, 2001, there were 400 acres of natural area in the Chicago Park District, 400. Now there's over 1,700, and we've committed to 2020 by 2020. That's our commitment to the natural areas. There's also been a lot of talk about the trees, and there's no other way around it. There's going to be trees removed, and that is not something anybody takes lightly. Certainly not at the Park District. We're actually a partner with the Chicago Regional Tree Initiative. I've called the Morton Arboretum. We've surveyed and assessed every tree in Jackson Park and every tree in South Shore, and we're going to work with the Arboretum on it. And I want to give you perspective. Most of you, I hope by now, are familiar with Maggie Daly Park downtown. We built that park in 2014. We removed 900 trees. And you know what? We planted it with over 1,000 new trees, a more diverse species. That way, the next time a Dutch elm's disease or an ash borer or any other pest that comes to an urban forest, we can get through it without losing the entire forest. So I'm going to wrap it up. We have a proven track record on the environment. We have a proven track record on youth development. And we have a proven track record on affordability. So I want to thank all of you for listening. I want to thank Alderman Harrison for continued support and feedback. I want to recognize Al Debonet and all the efforts of all the golfers, all the men and women that have supported us from day one on golf. I want to recognize Lisa Quinn, who leads up the first tee for Chicagoland and the youth. I want to thank everyone on the Park District team who have worked tirelessly on this project. And last of all, give all of yourselves an applause. Just like Alderman Hairston, I want to thank all of you for the advocacy, because one thing we can all agree on is we all want quality parks in Chicago. So with that, I'm now going to turn it over to Bo Welling. Bo is the lead designer, and he's a senior partner in Tiger Woods Design. Bo.
Hello, how is everybody? It's wonderful to be here, and thank you, Mike, and thank you, Alderwoman Harrison and Al. Al sends me these emails from time to time, and I always enjoy getting them because it makes me just all excited to go take on the day. So passion is certainly rampant here in the south side of Chicago, and it's quite an honor for us to be able to participate in this project. When the president first called Tiger and mentioned this opportunity, and Tiger called Brian and myself, I don't think we've ever seen him so excited about a golf course opportunity. And I think the reason is that he really wants to be involved in meaningful projects, meaningful golf projects. And I don't know of a project that I've ever seen in the course of my career that has the potential to be as meaningful as this project. And so we've been working very hard to try to figure this out, and it's not necessarily easy. There are lots of constraints, there are lots of challenges. We have stakeholders that have a diversity of opinions about what they would like to see. But I told a reporter earlier today that one of the things that makes this project so unique is that in many ways, this is obviously a wonderful, special community asset, and it's your asset. And so in many ways, we're used to working for private developers of golf courses, but we view our role as really working for you. And so in many ways, you guys are our boss. And so what we're going to do tonight is we're going to talk about what we presented last summer, and then we're going to talk about the feedback that we heard, and we're going to show you a plan of how we're trying to respond to what we heard. At the end of the day, the reason Tiger Woods is so excited, the reason everyone is so passionate about this, really is this idea of community and helping to bring the community together here and do it in a way that's very accessible. So the last thing in the world we'd want to do is design an overly difficult golf course. The reason we think it's going to be impactful and meaningful is casting a wide tent, if you will, to bring people into the game. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. So here's a plan that if any of you were at the meeting back in June of 2017, this is what we presented. And I'm just going to kind of give you a little bit of orientation. I believe these boards are up elsewhere, and we'll have opportunities to delve into more detail later tonight if you want. But Hayes is here, and this is the existing Jackson Park golf envelope for the most part. And then here's South Shore, where we are today, and here are the golf envelope for South Shore. So one of our constraints is just simple geometry. And so the plans we presented last June showed leveraging the existing Jackson Park clubhouse infrastructure, the Partee building. And what this shows is turning that into a junior golf center and having a junior course, a short course, playing out of that. That's something that we think is very important. As Mike talks about the kids, this is an opportunity to bring more people into the game of golf in a non-intimidating way, to learn the game, to do it with family members. It's a short amount of time. It's a wonderful facility. And so that's something we're super, super excited about. This original plan had an additional building to be built here to serve as the starting and stopping point of golf. This plan called for 10 holes in Jackson Park west of Jeffrey, 3 holes in Jackson Park east of Jeffrey, and then 5 holes down in South Shore. We had a scorecard that went from roughly 7,300 yards down to 3,000 yards. So the golf industry has been bad over the history of talking about tees in terms of gender or age, and it's really gotten to be much more technical than that. It really relates to swing speed. And so a young child swings a club very differently than a tour player, very differently than I would swing it, very differently than my mother would swing it, very differently than my father would swing it. And so it's very important for this not only to be accessible vis-a-vis rate, but be accessible for how you play the game of golf and what your skill level is. So that's something that's very, very important to us. If we look at, we went through a process of getting feedback. And so here's sort of a summation of what we heard. There's a strong desire to have the ability to have 9-hole leagues. And what we call that in a golf design parlance is to have an 18-hole golf course that returns to the clubhouse after 9. So right now, the existing Jackson Park golf course goes all the way from the north part down to the southeast part where the 9th hole is. So the 9th hole is as far as it can be from the clubhouse. So playing 9 holes was already problematic at Jackson Park. South Shore is just a 9-hole golf course, so people playing South Shore are used to playing 9 holes. So this was a consideration that we spent a lot of time thinking about, and it makes a lot of sense. One of the other items we heard is, Marquette's going away, but there's no way to get through the corpus, the body of the golf course. And how can we have pedestrian connection through golf? Lots of talk about natural areas and the native natural sanctuary that's here. And how can we have more of that? Other things we heard about, of course, were the driving range, and is there a way to put the driving range within the footprint of the golf? And that's probably proven to be the most challenging thing that we've looked at, frankly, because it's a large user of space, and we have to be aware of safety. So we can't have people being in harm's way as it relates to errant golf balls. And so the way to solve errant golf balls is to look at netting. And so if that comes into the body of the golf course, you start to really, we believe, take away from the aesthetics of the park. So that's probably been our biggest challenge. Other things we've heard is to continue to have passive use space outside the edge of the golf course, community space. Make sure the golf course is fun and for recreational golfers. And that's right at our core philosophy of what we're trying to do in terms of golf course design. So that's kind of an easy one. And golf is recreation, and recreation is supposed to be fun. So that kind of goes in the lockbox with everything we're going to do. So we feel very confident about having a playable, fun experience for all levels of play. And then there's been talk of a pro tournament, and obviously a pro tournament has certain staging requirements. And so the comments have been, hey, if you have to have dedicated space for that, can it be used in a different way when the tournament's not there? So having said all that, we'll unveil our latest iteration, which is our attempt to take the feedback that we've gotten, and sometimes the feedback is at cross purposes, and so they're balancing things that have to happen. But this plan is our response to hearing what we believe you said. Sorry. So here we are, it's blown up a little bit, same configuration as before, and what you'll see that's sort of the same is it's the same footprint for golf. We still have the short course playing out of Partee. We still have 10 holes west of Jeffrey. We still have 3 holes east of Jeffrey in Jackson Park, and we still have 5 holes down at South Shore. We still have holes north-south, north of where Marquette is, and holes east-west. These holes west of Jeffrey are basically the same as before. These holes at South Shore are basically the same, but these have been configured in a different way, and I'll get into that a little bit as to why. Scorecard-wise, you can't see this, but the scorecard hadn't really changed. We still have the 6 sets of tees that range from 7,300 yards for the Tiger Woods level player down to the 3,000 level tee for the more junior player. The beach house, the improved beach house is still incorporated. Many things have stayed the same. So what we want to talk about tonight, though, really is what's changed. And so we're going to blow up Jackson Park. So this area right here in Jackson Park, we're going to blow up to this plan. So Hayes is still here, Partee is still here. So as I said, here's the short course playing out of Partee. But what you see is different, first and foremost, is the relocation of the starting point for golf down to a location just west of Jeffrey. And so this is our attempt to respond to the first comment on the previous chart of wanting to have 9 holes of golf to return to the clubhouse. This doesn't exactly do that. It returns after 10 holes. So this is 1, 2, and we cross. I'll come back to this. We cross this and come back down. And so this is 10, and then we have a tunnel here to get to 11. So it's not perfect, but it's, in our opinion, is a radical improvement in terms of trying to provide 9 holes of golf. The bigger, more exciting thing, though, about moving the golf pavilion and the starting point is that it brings it down into a location that's so much more accessible to Jackson Park Highlands. And it really has the opportunity to become a very special community asset, a gathering spot for the community, something that's more than just starting and stopping for golf. Envision, a food and beverage outlet, a place that if you're not playing golf, that you might want to go and visit. So we're very excited about that. In terms of the tournament itself, if a tournament were to happen, what's kind of neat too is that by coming here, and I'll get into this a little bit more, the 18th hole shifts to here, which means the South Shore holes will be on the finish of golf, which I think will be a very positive thing in terms of the tournament experience. The other big comment about pedestrian access. So the previous plan had golf holes playing across where Marquette is now. This plan pushes golf away from where the Marquette corridor is and maintains the historical trail flow of pedestrian traffic, and this would be like a multi-use path to connect people through the body of Jackson Park. And so from a pedestrian standpoint, it's now going to be easy to walk through the golf course to, say, get down to the community golf pavilion, or even to continue on and ultimately go through the underpass to get to the lake. So we're very excited about that. One of the things you see that's different from the previous plan is we're suggesting a lake here. And that provides a lot of opportunities for us. One, it's an interesting feature for golf, but somewhat more importantly, it becomes a great tool in terms of draining the golf course. So one of the challenges with the golf right now is there's no significant drainage infrastructure, so it plays very soft. What is a more accessible experience for everyday golfers and for juniors is the opportunity to play a firmer, faster game. And you'll hear Tiger talk about it a lot of, I want to use the golf as my friend. And when you teach juniors, and they're not able always to get the ball up in the air, and so having a ball that will roll along the ground is very important, we think. And so by being able to drain the golf course more significantly gives us that opportunity. So we're excited about that. The Marquette corridor also creates some opportunity to preserve some legacy trees from the Olmsted plans, which is great, as well as add some additional natural habitat sort of through this corridor. If we kind of go to sort of flip now to South Shore, so we play 11, 12, and then we'll cross under 67th Street to get to South Shore. So 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17. So it's the same 5 holes that we talked about last June, but they occur later in the round of golf. And so the things that you'll see here that are probably most significant in terms of how we've listened and tried to respond is this gentleman is saying over here, there's a lot of concern about the natural area here at South Shore. And so we've worked very diligently to try to impact that significantly less. There is still impact here, but it's radically less than what the previous plans called for. What's been added, however, is a substantial increase in natural area along this corridor. And so this is an additional wetland type body of water that could be here with all native habitat surrounding it. We've also supplied a pedestrian access through that area to get to this native area, natural area, as well as to continue on down to the South Shore Cultural Center. So roughly speaking, there's 5.5 acres of natural area here at South Shore, and this takes that to well over 11.5. So it more than doubles the amount of natural area here at South Shore. You might not can tell, but we've also added some additional native grassing and native planting along the shoreline itself, which I think will be a wonderful addition in terms of water quality and creating more of a natural and stable edge along the edge of the Lake Michigan. The other thing I think hopefully folks will like is, as we understand it, when events happen here at South Shore, there can be pretty significant traffic concerns in terms of trying to exit. So we've programmed in just here an additional special event exit driveway that exits out to 71st Street. So we hope that makes the event experience here flow much more smooth in terms of traffic leaving. You know, the golf course, as I said, it remains 7,300 plus yards. It's going to be capable of hosting a PGA level tournament if that so happens. But I think what we're more excited about is all these different levels of play, all these different tees. As I said, for this to be meaningful, the reason this is Tiger Woods is excited about meaningful golf courses is really has nothing to do with the PGA tournament. That probably doesn't sound great to golf people that are in here, but it's really about the kids, as Mr. Kelly said. It's really about the community. Tiger Woods grew up on golf courses not radically dissimilar to what Jackson Park and South Shore are. And so this is just a very, very special thing, and hopefully we've made some good strides here in responding to your comments and improving the plan for the golf course. So just sort of in summary, and again, I think this board is somewhere, what the new plan represents is the relocation of the golf pavilion from the northwest corner down to an area that would be accessed off of Richardson, just west of Jeffrey. So I have a presence in the neighborhood, a presence from Jeffrey, and it allows to become a gathering spot for the community. We've increased pedestrian trail connectivity through the old Marquette corridor, which I think will be a wonderful way for folks to get through the site and get to the golf pavilion, get ultimately to the lake. We've increased the acreage of the natural areas throughout the golf course, which hopefully is a big positive in terms of ecology, in terms of wildlife habitat. As I just mentioned, we've got the special event driveway at the South Shore Cultural Center. And while we haven't been successful in relocating the range to the body of Jackson Park, we're very sensitive of what previous planning efforts suggested with the range. So we're working with the consultants with the different framework scenarios to try to take your additional feedback about the range and try to incorporate a better solution with the range. I think Mike's pretty excited about the opportunity, the way of looking at how do we have a range that can serve as a range but can still serve as a public use function at certain times of the day or certain times of the year. So we look forward to continued collaboration with them and with you guys. So this isn't sort of the end of the story. We want to continue the conversation. As I said, we view the world this particular world, this project is that you guys are really our boss, and we want to make you guys happy. So any feedback that we can continue to get from you all, we certainly would welcome that. And I just want to thank you on behalf of Brian Bell and Tiger Woods for the opportunity to be involved in such a meaningful project. Thank you.
Okay, so a little housekeeping. That concludes the formal presentation. Now this is going to take on the open house piece like it's done in the previous 10 meetings. There's plenty of park staff here, Bo's here, I'm here. There's plenty of boards. Feel free to check out the boards and have any discussion you'd like with us, any questions, we'd be happy to answer. So thank you for coming out.
Here's a path, some way or other, to get here.
For example, you can, from the South Shore Country Club, take this is all going to be pedestrian path. This is all going to be natural area.
Yeah, it's going to look like this. It's similar to Lakefront Trail, so if you know what the Lakefront Trail is, yes, over here, they're eliminating the practice field. Yeah, but they got the short courses there, though.
So is it 9 here and 9 there?
No.
I thought they talked about construction schedule, but I haven't heard anybody say just how long it's going to have it.
In keeping with the history of it, it's one of the oldest spaces in Jackson Park. Historical. And it's historical and it's beautiful. But there have been some efforts by the Garden of the Phoenix Association that have said, you know, we could really work with you to improve some of the areas that could use a little bit more.
They've been doing a lot of work.
They have been doing a lot of work. But all the Army Corps work that's been done would not be harmed. That will remain. That part will be